I, yeah, I just
I understand what you're saying. I just think that and I know we may be saying the same thing. I just genuinely believe
like a synonym.
if you're a Western Conference front office exec and you look at the landscape and you tell yourself, "Hey, man, the only way that I can really guarantee myself even a playoff spot is if I can win 48 games." There and when you move in that light, you just make better decisions. Whereas if you are in the Eastern Conference and you tell yourself in a vacuum, hey, the way that I can make the playoffs, guarantee myself a playoff spot, is with 43 wins. Like I can be a few games above 500 and I can still make the playoffs. It's just that the level of meticulous decision making that you make is just isn't there. I don't know. Somebody asked me about what they did in Brooklyn. I want to do a video about it, but the Kyrie shenanigans are pretty fucking crazy, and also KD basically just being content and complacent and not being a leader is pretty crazy as well.
I'm assuming in this hypothetical, the play-in doesn't exist, and you're just having all teams just battle.
Oh, say that again?
I'm assuming in this hypothetical, the play-in doesn't exist, and we're just having these 16 teams battle it.
The play-in could still exist. I mean, that doesn't really stop it, but yeah, I mean,
I like the play-in.
Yeah,
Do
the
you feel like the
Sixers will
plan?
continue.
Do you feel like the plan made this worse too? Like, based off of what you're saying, I'm guessing you're anti-plan then.
No, I don't mind the playing. It's just because I don't really think, especially because normally now, not always. Normally, the gap between um 7, 8, and 9 and 10 isn't that wide, and even nine, if you're 9 and 10, you still have to not win just one but two games to make it into the playoffs anyway. So it's like you are in a situation where you have to like really prove yourself to get into
Wasn't
the
it like
playoffs.
wasn't the West like a 7 or like 9 game difference this year?
Well,
Yeah,
this year, but that's why I said
that
normally.
shit's actually good to
Okay.
watch.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
okay.
good
Okay.
basketball.
I saw that too.
Okay, I see
We're
what
talking
you
about
mean.
general.
I would just think that you would say the plane is a bad thing because now to me that's just like another marker of
We can make
success
the
that
10th seed.
they can hang their hat on. Oh man, this team is
Let's
like,
barely
because you hear that
split.
conversation now. Man, this team's a play-in team. I'm telling you, and it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
but
I don't think anyone's
but a
saying that
playing
though.
but a playing team for what? Because the playing teams so far have been teams that have like I don't think any of us like their expectations were low anyway. But like if you are a team that's trying to be more established and you're saying you're a playing team, then like yeah, you're that's a fucking low standard. But the Hornets
That's
saying that
really
they're a
crucial.
playing team, like yeah, the standard of them, their standard anyway was going to be a low playoff seeding team anyway. So I understand what you're saying. Also, I think that teams are not going to like fixate themselves off of a one game elimination tournament. Like I just don't. I think that the standard would still be, hey, we need to be good enough to be in the playoffs. And if the standard of being a playoff contending team that can, compete in the first or second round is just lower, is significantly lower than it is in one conference and the other, then you're fucking like that's just the reality of what like bad decision making is. Because once more, like going back in throughout the 2000s, like the fucking Mavericks knowing that they were gonna have to play either the Spurs or Suns in the second round, bro. You prepare differently, you make better decisions, you find different ways to just be as competent as possible. More so than I in the Eastern Conference, I might be able to get away with not playing a 50 plus win team until the conference finals. Like that's just like it's just drastically different. But yeah, that nigga Kyrie had a bunch of shenanigans, but I can't. It's hard for me to blame Kyrie because he's Kyrie, and that nigga Sean Marks is on his fucking knees. That nigga was on his knees, and he doesn't want to be on his knees anymore. But it's like, nigga, you were on your knees, dog.
You
So
were
get back
already
on.
down there.
Yeah, get back on your knees, nigga.
no
Get
pause,
on
no
your
no
fucking
pause.
not it ain't. It's no real pause, nigga. Like you, that nigga was on his knees, bro.
No.
Bruh.
Get back on them fucking knees, nigga.
So you already down, nigga. Might as well swallow.
You might as well swallow, nigga. Let these niggas finish.
No,
Whoa.
Paul.
What the fuck?
No, I know.
I feel you. He's spitting for real.
Sean
That's
Marks
what
is
Mark's
spitting
saying.
too.
Nah.
What's it called? I never gave you
That
the
nigga
breakdown.
Sean Marks was spitting, bro.
I never gave you the breakdown on the draft
Okay.
and how it's supposed to be for real. So let me tell you,
The breakdown of what?
like the players in the draft.
Oh, I've already seen enough summer league to know that nigga Jabari, that nigga, oh man.
Jabari is Trevor Ariza. He can defend though.
Yeah, so could Trevor Ariza.
He can't put the ball on the ground, and he'll never be able to put the ball on the ground in a meaningful way. So crazy top 3 pick. Paolo, I'm still saying Blake at his peak.
That nigga looks amazing, no cap.
But now we're starting to see LeBron. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, that nigga looks crazy.
Not gonna lie. Chet is not that guy.
I don't think he is either. I think niggas gassed that one game because the rest of the games, every single concern that everybody had about him is highlighted.
Y'all hating me. Y'all better get proven wrong.
And mind you, it was against the most flat-footed player in like the league, Taco Fall, who's really not in the league either. That he had that crazy game. Yeah, Taco Fall couldn't guard me. That's how flat-footed he is, bro. So, and then everybody else, don't really look. Just there's nothing to say. Some cool guys.
Nah,
No
Paulo
Jaden Ivey?
Paulo's definitely.
Oh, my bad. Hey,
Paulo is a pussy.
Paulo is definitely.
I said this like a year ago.
Hardy?
Jaden Ivey. Oh, and then Hardy is good too. But Detroit is building something pretty special. No cap.
Yeah, first round exit.
I mean, I guess so. Maybe next year, maybe the next 2
Still
years.
better for them though.
But what I'll say is like Lo was just saying about these teams making bad decisions and like speeding up processes and all this other stuff in the Eastern Conference, locking in guys and all this stuff like that. I don't think that Detroit is doing that. Like they're truly taking their time. Everybody is on the same timeline on their team. They have a guy that they believe is the star, and they have a good second, like a running mate with him. And then they're building it out with 3-point shooters and defenders. And that's, I mean, hey, that's good. They weren't in the conversations this summer. Hey, let's go out and get Zach LaVine to try to boost this process or whatever the case may be. They weren't signing Joe Johnson for $300 million. Like, come on, like they won't go on.
The only talks they were in, I think they were in the Jalen Brunson talks, but that's probably like it.
Yeah, the most talks they were in was the Jalen Brunson talks, but they weren't talking. Oh man, let's see what we can do to go get Kevin Durant. Like a team from the 2000s would, and then it'd be Zach LaVine, who isn't real anyway, and they gave up pretty much all their depth for Zach LaVine, athletic Joe Johnson. Tough, but yeah, that's the breakdown.
But also, Omar, I mean, as a Hawks fan, you know for a fact, they made a tough decision where they came off of Josh Smith, and he was basically holding them hostage, saying like, "Nigga, if y'all don't pay me this, I'm gonna go somewhere else." And they're like, "All right, cool, nigga, go somewhere else." Like,
but I'm saying like, who did that? And I think, and again, I think that's what you're seeing now. And to who said that slump? What you're seeing now when you say like, oh man, you don't think it's getting better in the East? I'm not gonna lie. The reason why it's getting better in the East, from my assessment, is because a lot of these second and third, like you got your main guy in the front office, and the second and third guy in the front office on some of these teams, they're going East. So the whole Western Conference, like the Spurs, the whole tree, it broke down. Most of them went to the East, and they're making them better. In Detroit right now is Troy Weaver, who was over at OKC. That's what happened with Atlanta that year. If I'm not mistaken, that's when Mike Budenholzer came in and was like, all right, bro, let's see if you can guard threes. Since you say you want to be a 3, since you say you want to get this big money, Kobe dunked on him, and they looked at him and was like, yeah, buddy, you're not getting
was
paid.
Danny Ferry still there, or was that when Bud was just doing it himself?
No, I think Danny Ferry was, mind you, it might have been Danny Ferry, which is another Pop disciple though. So like,
Yeah.
So that's what's really been the change for that situation. Because if Atlanta was still under its old management, they would have maxed out Josh Smith just like they maxed out Joe Johnson.
Yeah.
Which was crazy as fuck to think about, but you know,
Yeah.
that's my team for real. So you know, we lived it.
I agree. I still think that it comes down to, I mean, even if the experience came from an Eastern Conference team, it is better executives and a better perspective and having higher standards. I think having a player like Giannis, it does wonders for the fucking East. And the same thing with potentially a Harden and Embiid duo, because I think it just puts pressure on everybody else to like make the proper decisions. So now Atlanta's being aggressive with getting DeJounte Murray and not being complacent. To be fair, Atlanta has been aggressive though for the past 2-3 years now. So that to be fair with that. But I just think that if you're a team in the Eastern Conference, you just being more aggressive on what you want to do and how you're trying to build your team. I think it just helps that Miami, Boston, Milwaukee, and Philly are going to be competent for the next several years, and then also Toronto has a great front office as well. And so, you're going to sit back and say, "Hey, man, I might," and then if Brooklyn keeps KD, Kyrie, I guess, but then you're going to look at yourself like as Chicago, as Atlanta, as Charlotte, like what do we need to do to like more establish ourselves? And I think it just forces them to become a better equipped with trying to make these decisions rather than, oh, instead of me dealing with like 1 or 2 50-win teams, there could be like 4 or 5 of them every single year. Also, KD, Kyrie should just they need to stay, bro. They just need to stay, bro.
That was that year that they didn't. I don't even think they offered, if I'm not mistaken, Josh Smith. That was the exact year that Bud came in like the summer. God, that was the team. That's when we had the Goon Squad for real. That's when we had Bud, Kenny Atkinson, Darvin Ham, Taylor Jenkins, Quinn Snyder, and Danny Ferry at the top. Yeah, that's
Yo,
when
I'm tired of. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm tired of fucking dumbass Laker fans trying to tell me about Darvin Ham gonna save this organization. Like he's not, bro.
they is crazy, but he got some pedigree for real.
He got pedigree at what?
Hey, bro, he was under our guy, bro. He was under our guy.
Nigga, he's a defensive oriented coach, bro. Can we stop?
And also, let me be clear. I think it's something to say. Like, I see what you're saying, but it's still clear to me that the West is like the West is so far ahead, and it takes players from the West, or it takes the management, coaching staff, whatever, from the West to come over and be like, yo, this is the wave. This is what y'all should do. This is what you, because I could only imagine if Bud didn't go in with Milwaukee and reshape how that situation is.
The West is definitely farther ahead. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's a lot of good teams. Even the bad teams in the East are still making like good progress. I feel like for the most part.
Look who's making decisions over there.
No,
except for the Knicks.
Right,
except for the Knicks.
I don't. Don't get me wrong. The Knicks definitely had a step backwards last year with the whole Kemba and Fournier thing, but I mean they still have a lot of good young players though.
Jalen Brunson, that was a very Knicks move. That was I'm about to overpay.
Yep, it was.
Like, and I love Jalen.
Is it really an overpay though? Because the market.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Close enough.
You can't.
There's nobody else in the market that's giving him anything near close. It's an overpay.
You can't pay somebody for 10 games like that. Come on, bro.
I feel you, but at the end of the day, the Knicks needed a point guard. Like they were super desperate for a point guard, and now they got him.
Jalen Brunson.
I think it's Stone Artist, but why? But how about this? Go draft a nigga and then develop him the same way every other organization is doing. Every other competent organization, when they need something, I don't know. It's weird to me that fucking Toronto and Masai can just find players out of the fucking blue. Niggas is finding niggas in the late first round, second round, and undrafted. It is odd to me that fucking Miami can just find niggas out of the blue. Late first, mid first, late first, second round, undrafted. It's odd to me that the Warriors can just find niggas out of the blue. Late first, undrafted, second round. They just find these niggas. Like that, like these niggas are available. It's not like they don't
Jalen Brunson was a
exist.
second
You're
round
not
pick?
you're not wrong, but my point.
Yeah, but he was I get that, but he's a second round pick that established himself on Dallas. So Dallas found them that person, and Dallas feels so confident in their ability to keep finding those people that they're not going to overpay just to keep
Jaden
them.
Hardy.
Facts, twin. Facts, twin. That's what DTP was telling us about, but y'all didn't listen back then. For real.
Them niggas retarded.
No, they told you about Jaden Hardy, and you did not listen for real.
About who?
All right, you'll see this year. Don't worry about it. But no, I agree.
They also said that Ja Morant was better than Curry.
We'll see. That's crazy. But... The story is yet to be told.
Oh,
but you know what's funny though? You know what's funny though too?
The new Russell Westbrook gonna be better than Curry.
Stop it.
Yeah,
you know what's funny though?
It's new funny, John Wall.
It's funny to me that like Eastern Conference teams have they have G League teams and they just don't use them either, which is like so weird. It's one of the weirdest things ever. I literally watched it. You said what?
They have what you said?
G League teams. G League teams? Like the Knicks have a G League affiliate. The Knicks have a G League affiliate, and I watched them for years draft players and never send anybody there that clearly needed development.
Nope.
Like, that's so weird.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to like act like the Knicks are doing everything right, but
it's the same with the Hawks, though. It's the same with the Hawks. The Hawks have a G League affiliate, and I literally sat for years and watched them just not use it. Like, we just got one. No.
The thing I do like about the Knicks is that they do have a huge onslaught of young talent that has been developing pretty well. Quentin Grimes is dropping 24 points a game in the summer league. They have Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin, Jericho Sims. They have players who are young who are promising. But the thing is, they have
25.
Okay.
26.
I mean, he's a second-year player now. But my point is
that's somebody who need to be in the G League.
Yeah, my point is that they have a bunch of talent. They just have veterans at the top that they're trying to move because they realized they had a horrible offseason last year.
You know who uses and takes their G League affiliate seriously? The Toronto Raptors, the Golden State Warriors, like.
Yeah, the Santa Cruz Warriors are fire.
Come on, bro.
Only G League team I watch.
The Lakers. Do they not take that?
But I'm not mad at the Knicks.
Jello Ball, the Swarm.
Committed to being a playing team.
I mean, the Knicks are trying to make a push for Donovan Mitchell right now. I just don't think they want to give up RJ Barrett.
I mean,
aren't they still under the cap right now?
Like, and you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy that you just said that, Slump? Like that's again. I'm not here to pile on what Lo said, but that's a real Eastern Conference thing.
But Donovan Mitchell's a 25-year-old superstar.
No, I'm saying to not give up RJ
he's
Barrett.
not a superstar.
You don't think Donovan Mitchell's
a star, not a superstar, not even close to a superstar.
But even then, to not give up RJ Barrett, not give up RJ Barrett in a trade for Donovan Mitchell is like, okay, this is
it's dumb.
I mean, RJ averaged 20 points a game this year, and he had a bunch of great.
Is he a superstar?
Is he Donovan Mitchell?
Like, if you ask me, I would give up RJ, but like, I would hate to see him go though, because he's made a ton of great progress.
Oh, Bezos might kill me because what's it called?
And now
I think the Celtics use their G League pretty well.
Nigga, fuck the Boston Celtics, nigga. That loser ass.
Yo! Stop talking about giving up RJ. What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not a fan of giving
Stop talking about giving up RJ. Shut up.
Giving out RJ is
crazy.
No,
bro, we're not giving up RJ. Shut that shit up right the fuck now.
Bro, you gotta think of the reason that I think they shouldn't. I don't know. The reason I think it doesn't make sense too.
Fuck the Celtics.
Facts.
I agree. Having
facts. Fuck the Celtics, but the thing is,
Bezos left.
RJ's not making a ton of money, so they have to make the money make sense. So they'd have to give up Julius along with him or Evan Fournier. They'd have to make it make sense.
RJ Barrett is the next Evan Turner. Please don't get onto that.
But if you give
relax.
Randall, if you give up Randall and Fournier, it's lit, bro.
The man gave Jimmy Butler like 43 last year.
Y'all niggas hanging on Tyreek Evans.
When you get Donovan Mitchell, what do you do?
RJ Barrett is going to be an all-star within 2 years.
RJ's an all-star next year, bro. I'm trying to tell you.
I guess
he's an all-star.
Bro, the man averaged
Depends
20,
if Julius is going to be good again.
Bro, if you average 20 a game at the age of what is he, 22,
and he was
21?
the worst finisher, overrated shooter. Like, what are we doing?
Yo, Slump, what do you do after you get RJ? I mean, what do you do after you get Donovan Mitchell?
Look, I mean, the team with Donovan would Depends who we're giving up. Let's say it was RJ and picks, like, even though it wouldn't make sense. Let's just pretend, right? Then it would be Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, RJ Barrett, and then you'd have to give up Julius Randle.
That's
So
a 7th seed.
That's a play-in team. Obi Toppin and Mitchell Robinson.
That's a 7th seed. That's a play-in team.
That's a 10 seed. They're still working the cap.
Jalen Brunson, Donovan
not a
Mitchell,
10 seed,
RJ,
bro.
Obi, and Mitchell Robinson.
That's a 7th seed at max. That's a 7th seed at max, and we'll take that. That's
I
better than what we've been
disagree
getting.
with that.
You're still
They were the
playing.
4 seed. They're a year removed.
Yeah,
from
that was a
being the
lucky
4
season.
seed.
That's not happening again.
I'm just
The
saying.
East has
Julius
gotten
Randle
better.
definitely overachieved, but
The East has gotten better
Donovan
since they were the
Mitchell.
4th seed.
The season that Julius Randle had to get them there in the East is something Donovan Mitchell does on a year-to-year basis.
When?
So, what do you mean when? He was just in the we've
Donovan
watched
Mitchell's not like
Mitchell
that.
have success
He's
throughout
not
his
like
whole
that.
career.
But even
not,
still, even
Rudy Gobert carried.
okay.
Okay, shut up, bro.
Let's say a KD and a Kyrie trade happens, so the Nets fall out.
Did
Right?
Rudy not carry defense?
Defense is overrated.
The
to me,
Cavs
man.
are still better than y'all. The Hawks are still better. The Hornets are still better.
I don't know about.
Oh, I don't know about that. Miles
The
Bridges
Hornets
is
are not
gone.
better if they get Donovan Mitchell. Come on.
They are.
They're still better.
No, they're not. Not with
Nah, bro. I
No, they're
Hornets
not.
games. They're not better.
offense.
Not
Oh,
with
bro,
all
you
those
realize
criminals.
the completely depleted Knicks last year, right? They won 37 games, which isn't good. That's only 6 less than the Hornets, though.